Wow, this is like 3 weeks in a row now. Does it mean you and me are going steady again? Well, hello everybody. Yes, 'tis I, GhostCritic. Another week. That's 3 in a row. This is getting to be quite habit forming again, but it's great. I'm getting back in full swing with comic book review videos. I'm thinking about bringing some old classics back, but that's a little bit further on down the line. But for now, we have a pretty darn good week of comics with a very special entry right at the very end. So let's get on with it. Let's kick off with issue 7 of Guardians of the Galaxy, and after last month's kind of obligatory fight scene for no real particular reason, if only just to introduce our character that's come over from Image, Angela. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, our new character here, Angela, came from the Spawn comics over at Image, and she is like an angel, this warrior angel who back when she was in the Spawn comics kind of fought, befriended, kind of was in love with Spawn, and at one point died for him, if I remember rightly. My Spawn history is a little bit shaky, but now that fight scene is all over and she's been caught by our band of Guardians. We finally find out her backstory, or at least kind of her new one, according to Bendis. There's this kind of story where Angela, yes, she is from heaven, but it sounds like heaven is all that exists. Earth is a kind of a myth, a fairy tale that, you know, people don't believe exists. Now that kind of contradicts whatever happened in Spawn, so I'm already a little confused about this. There's a kind of the Bendis banter which kind of spoils the comic a little bit. All his little quips that he uses he used a lot in like Ultimate Spider-Man when he was doing the original series, and I just don't really think it quite suits this, but hey ho, it's Bendis, he puts all these little witticisms in there. What else? There is a kind of touching kind of ending to this. I mean, Angela is completely alone on this planet and she's seeing everything for the first time, this mythological place called Earth that she's only ever heard about in stories, and you kind of feel for her somewhat at the end. She goes out alone. I'm sure she'll be back to join the ranks of the Guardians at some point. It was an okay issue, clearly leading up to something. That's something we'll have to wait and see. Okay, Animal Man issue 24, and I have to say this title hasn't really been doing it for me for a few issues, which is a shame because it's got the great Jeff Lemire on it, and we've got Raphael Albuquerque on art now. But there's just something, it doesn't seem to have that kind of magic that I first felt when I came onto this new book. So we've had The Rock trying to kind of take over, be the big player of like the 3 avatars, and now what we basically have is the Red's turn, and it's a kind of a renegade avatar of the Red teaming up with Brother Blood to take control of the Red in general and make it more an assertive force than it is used to, thus breaking that balance between the 3. So that in itself, it's kind of like we've literally just had Rock World, and we saw how that panned out. Do we really need to jump straight into now the red trying to take kind of the top spot of the three? What else is happening here? Unfortunately, I'm sorry, I don't like her. We have the kind of reunion of Ellen and Buddy Baker. The past has been forgotten and forgiven, but that's because, well, yes, Maxine is missing. Well, she's not missing. We know that she's currently in the red trying to find a way to resurrect her brother Cliff. Unfortunately, Brother Blood and our avatar of the Red Renegade has taken over the red, has quelled the forces of the other avatars. And Brother Blood's out for Buddy Baker's neck, basically, and where better to bait him than the awards ceremony he's meant to be at. Like I said, it's another okay issue. It's nothing really stunning that I've seen from previous issues. The artwork by Albuquerque, it's kind of hit and miss. There are those kind of horrific, terrifying moments, but then they throw in this kind of anthropomorphizing of animals again. So you get a parrot in a pirate's costume. There's like a dog in a suit, and it just seems a little bit cutesy for all the rest of the horrific stuff going on, and it seems a little bit lazy given the rest of the horror that's going on around. So yeah, I'm sure it'll pick up a bit more. It's just a kind of okay-ish average storyline going on at the moment. Now we move on to Batwoman issue 24, and it's another of those series that seems to be petering off. The magic that we'd seen from previous story arcs seems to have gone by the by. Now, whether this is to do with J.H. Williams' kind of abrupt leaving from this title, I don't know. But this all seems a little bit pedestrian for Batwoman. It is essentially the baiting of Batman. Somehow a rogues gallery of Batman's villains have been let loose on Gotham City. So you've got Bane, you've got Poison Ivy, you've got the Mad Hatter, and they're basically terrorising Gotham City and hoping to lure Batman out so we can have the beginning of the Batman versus Batwoman smackdown. And we do get some of this towards the end. I kind of get in the back of my head that this could be a big double cross, some unknown scene that we have not been privy to between Batwoman and Batman. They've probably got a plot themselves. This is to help Batwoman rescue her sister, who is currently being held kind of ransom by the DOA or the DEO, whichever one it is, and we get a little bit of a conversation between Bones and Batman, and then of course there is the big smackdown. It's just a bit okay again. I'm actually looking forward to having someone new on the title. It's probably going to look incredibly different and we'll all go, ah, this is terrible. But let's give whoever we've got on this title after Williams a little bit of a chance. Oh, good God. It's Morning Glories. It's issue 33. And it's another mind blast. I just... oh goodness, it's another kind of post story from their little trip in the woods and all the time travelling, sacrificing begubbins that went on there. This time we are centering on this guy whose name is Guillaume, and oh my God, I've had to write this down. This is how crazy and, you know, messed up Nick Spencer is when he's writing this title. It's glorious, it really is, but my God, it's a head scratcher, really is. So, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to read off the notes here. Right, okay. Basically what we have is Guillaume is in a relationship with Hiseo. Now, right at the very beginning, Hiseo and his twin brother Jun kind of swap places, and Jun goes to the academy in place of Hiseo. What we find out in this issue is Hiseo makes a deal with Hodge, one of the teachers, to be allowed into the academy to kind of take the place of his brother who shouldn't have been there in the first place. And then there's this whole, Hiseo is the one, he's this guy, this Fukuyama, so he's quite a special person to the academy and who they wanted in the first place. This leads to what we had in the story when they were in the woods, the sacrifice supposedly of Hiseo. But it's not Hiseo, it's Jun who was sacrificed. And Jun didn't realise he was Jun. Jun thought he was Hiseo. Hiseo comes to try and rescue Jun, but he's too late. He pleads to the gods above, and then there's a big flash, and there seems to be a bit of a body swap. Jun is now in Hiseo's body, I think. It is just crazy, and it all kind of makes sense why when Guillaume is released from his cell after being a little bit naughty out in the woods, the fact that Hiseo isn't talking to him and doesn't want anything to do with him, because it's not Hiseo, it's Jun. Nick Spencer is a genius on this book, but at the same time he just wants to play with my head loads. I say this every time, no one issue is going to be worth jumping on. You have to go right to the very to the very beginning to get any sense out of this book, but I'm going to be picking this up till the very end. Okay, so my pick of the week is Fables, issue 134. Just a fantastic title. I mean, you know me, I'm always bigging up Fables. I think everyone should read this. It's just the perfect book. This is one of Willingham's kind of infamous digressional stories. It kind of veers away from the main storyline that we have currently going on, which is Camelot. And we take a look at what's happening to Bigby. Bigby, for those of you who are catching up or already know, was turned to crystal and smashed into smithereens, so he is presumed dead at the moment, and he is in heaven, or at least his version of heaven at the moment. No real big spoilers when I say this, but we get a reappearance of Boy Blue. He's on the cover, so I'm not really spoiling anything there for you, but it's the chat that they have in this issue, and it's all kind of like about the afterlife, about what happens when you die, what paths you can take, is it possible to come back, and then kind of like the fate that your life leads. One point that, you know, we forget is that Bigby is meant to be the big bad wolf, and the big bad wolf is always portrayed as a villain, but yet in our Fables universe his chance meeting and falling in love with Snow has kind of veered him away from that path. He has become a kind of powerful good, and he's, you know, keeping everyone safe, but there is this talk about if he does go back to Earth, to Fables, could this path be veered back to his supposed and traditional evil ways? I was kind of a bit wary about him coming back, because I kind of thought that the whole reason and the way that our characters stay alive is through the belief of what they call in the title the Mondays as ordinary folk, their retelling of the story. And if you tell it enough times and you say it over and over again, this makes these characters stronger. This doesn't seem to be the case anymore, but it adds an extra layer to what is going on. And then right at the very end, the last couple of pages, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's kind of like, it's the kick in the gut, it's the lump in the throat, and it's kind of holding back the tears. Just a perfect and very, very sad ending to this issue. Masterfully written by Willingham, as always. That's it for this week. It's time for me to say goodbye until we get another stack of comics to review next week. Of that you will have no doubt. So what did we pick up this week? Have you not started picking up Fables yet? And if not, why not? Just a beautiful issue, like I said. Right at the top of the video I always said, you know, I'm thinking of bringing back some old classics of the videos. I still didn't complete my long box history showing you all my comics from A to Z, so I'm thinking of reintroducing that. My most popular videos have always been, for whatever reason, and I'm grateful for you all for watching them, are the Ultimate Graphic Novel series from Marvel. I've been reading a ton of those and I'm obviously far behind reviewing them. I think I might have a go at reintroducing those as well. So with all that in mind, it's time to say goodbye. I hope you have a great weekend and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.